Need a roll call.
Steve Warndall, John Bonprise, Doug Rowdy,
Here.
Jay Luke,
Here.
Jeremy Hall.
Here.
We have 3 of 5 members present.
Need a motion on the agenda. All in favor? Aye, opposed, same sign. Previous minutes, how do they look? Make a motion to accept. All in favor? Aye, opposed, same sign. Any public comment? Well, supervisors. Yeah. Bicycle pedestrian plan.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thought I'd give you an update on the bike and ped plan that we've been working on since fall last year. If you recall, the county has been a recipient of a transportation alternatives plan grant that provides 80% of the funding for the development of this bicycle pedestrian plan for the county. The main purpose of the plan is to gauge sentiments, usage, needs, and gaps in the bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure and identify routes within the county. We're working with West Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission. They've been the ones that have developed the bicycle pedestrian plans for the rest of the region. So collaboration and working with them will provide us regional connections to the other counties in our area, along with connections potentially across the river over in Minnesota. The schedule for development of this plan is through the end of the year. Currently, we're working with the advisory committee to develop those recommendations. So between now and the end of the year, we'll have a draft. We'll work with you as a committee and get that through the county board. Reminder that this plan incorporates goals, vision, and preferences for potential future developments and or connections for the bicycle pedestrian infrastructure here in the county. Although it doesn't commit us to do anything further going forward, it just helps us identify if we were going to take on any of those projects, what would be the most preferable projects to move forward with. In addition, by having a plan established, we can access additional grant funds to help us with those projects going forward. So that's the main point of the plan. The plan includes a robust public information process, public input gathering process. We've created an advisory committee that has a bunch of different representation on it, including a couple of our municipalities. We have the Wisconsin Bike Federation, the Ice Age Trail, the Woolley Bike Club, and Steve Warndall from this committee is also on that advisory committee. The advisory committee that I just spoke of has met 3 times since November. We've kind of had a introductory meeting to discuss the roles of the plan of the advisory committee, figure out some draft goals and vision for the process and for the project, and then also work on identifying the questionnaire that we had this spring for the survey, and then when to schedule an open house and what that should contain. The open house was conducted on April 22nd. We had 28 people in attendance. They were able to do a mapping exercise. They were able to provide feedback on the goals and objectives and the vision statements that have been going on, and identify where they see obstacles or where they see opportunities for bicycle pedestrian facilities going forward. For a little over a month, around April, we had a survey that consisted of 24 different questions, very similar to what was done at the open house. 264 individuals responded to that, and it gives us a good idea of what the preferences are for how often do they bike and walk in the community, what routes do they use, what are the purposes of biking, whether it's for pleasure, for transportation, for exercise, those kind of things, and then opportunities for improvement in infrastructure. The next steps are we're working with regional planning to analyze some of the initial recommendations from the advisory committee to see how feasible they are, what the speeds on those routes might be in terms of highway traffic, trying to connect the best opportunities, whether it be to community, or from community to, say, a state park or a county park or those other points of interest. We'll have a third, or the next advisory committee will be held later this month. And then sometime probably in August, we'll have a municipal roundtable where we'll talk with the incorporated communities and talk about how we connect to them from the unincorporated areas. If you're interested in learning more about the project, we have a website, and I can send that to each of you by email. It has information about the planning documents, what the survey results were, and our next steps. Questions about that?
On your survey, how many, you got 200 some
Yep.
responses. How did you distribute that? Were they targeted?
We put information out in the paper. We advertised on our website, put it out on our Facebook sites, and word of mouth through the groups that are interested in bicycle and pedestrian access.
That's a pretty good response.
Yeah, and when we worked with regional planning, the around 30 that came to the open house, that's the best they've had attendance wise for an open house in the region.
But
Once this plan is established, what's the budget for the action items?
That's to be determined based on what the projects that come out of it are and whether or not we can get grant funding. So there's nothing that we have to do with the planning document, any projects that come from it. If the county moves forward, then we would decide what that budget looks like based on.
any other questions? All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
About the on fee schedule, the highway.
Our fee schedules are printed on that handout I passed out on the top cover. Got our annual report in there and then our monthly financials update stapled together. I don't have any fee schedule increases proposed for 26. We just increased our utility permit fee effective last July. So it shows all our current fee schedules on driveway permits and residential field access, utility permits for the utility companies. Basic permits are the bulk of our utility permits at highway. Open cut, we maybe see one or two of those a year. And then our oversized overweight permits, single trip for the heavyweight trailers and trucks. Usually a local excavator, someone moving equipment in and out of gravel that traverses a section of county road and not state road. They also apply for state highway permits for that same use. So usually piggyback off with our permits too for those hauling fees. The questions on the fee schedule for highway?
It's something we look it over in the future. You know. I don't have any questions. Is anybody on? Okay, who's next?
Parks, trails, recycling, and facilities.
Okay.
So I broke this up into three categories. The first one is parks, then it goes to recycling, and then it goes to facilities. There's no fee increase in any of ours, but I would like to note that in the recycling fees, you'll notice like the line item of mattress. we made $8,150 in revenue. And if we keep the recycling charge, that eventually I would like to see that fee go away as one of them that we would eliminate. Other than that, all the fees in parks and recycling are staying consistent with last year.
Just one question I had. How did the fees work at Kennedy this year when you had it? You had reserved?
For the pavilions,
Well, just, no, just you were talking about having reserved because we had some bad campers last year.
oh, at the camp at Apple River. Actually, since we went to the online reservation, it has improved dramatically. And I know our calls to the sheriff's office have dropped significantly as well. So we're not getting as many people saying, oh, I paid, I put it in the box, and then it was never there. So we can check electronically, and then I know the rec officers and other officers can check also to ensure who is there is supposed to be there. And our revenue is actually up 46% this year so far for the campground. In fact, this weekend, we're gonna have, I think, 11 of 15 sites filled. Yeah, that's the most that I can ever remember. And we're close to being.
Okay. Thank you, Sheriff.
For the sheriff's office, we have several different fees changes. First of all, the pay for service and our writs, we changed those to 120, from 120 to 125, just to match our service request fee. So it's all 125 now versus 100 here, 125 down. In County Huber, we raised that to $25 just to match the out of County Huber, so they're both the same. Felony holds and sanctions, those are set by the state. Those are roughly $60 now they're paying us versus the 45, 51, 46. Digital records, we lowered one of the fees there, creating a digital record just because it's a statute's going to go to the lowest paid person. We moved those duties from dispatch to the records division, so they're a little bit lower paid, so that's why that got changed to a lower fee. Then our flash drive media with the postage increase and the cost of the flash drive increased to $6. Now in the sheriff fees.
I have none. Anybody else? Okay. District attorney with.
The district attorney one will have to August meeting.
Okay.
Here, he hasn't updated his fees yet.
All right, so if we act on these, we can act at one, all at once. We can act on all of them at once, we will exclude that one.
Yes.
Clerk of court,
Sharon's not here. The clerk reports fees are in your packet here on page 3. There are no increases to those fees. The same as last year.
okay, there's,
And there's 7 states. So
okay, how about CJCC?
I'm just gonna give a little update here for Don since he's not able to be with us. So for 2024, we had an average of 11 treatment court participants with 8 graduations and 3 terminations. For our diversion program, we had an average of 3 participants, 2 graduations, and 2 terminations. Our average numbers for our intoxicated driver program was 1 with 0 graduations, 0 terminations. And we had 14 people successfully complete our first time offender program. We did have an increase in funding, as you can see on your sheet there as well. For our current year, I'll just give my update right now on where our numbers currently sit. We have had a total right now of 10 treatment court participants with 1 termination so far this year. We do have an expected graduation of this fall will be our next graduation. We also have 2 referrals that we are working in progress on right now with the potential to have 12 participants next month. Our substance diversion, we currently have 2 participants with 1 graduation so far this year. We have had, according to this, we had 17 first-time offenders complete our course. We have had 7 actually additionally complete since this was typed up. And then for our intoxicated driver intervention program, total of 6 participants. We actually have had 3 graduations now this year, not just 1, and 1 termination. As you can see here, it says our goal is to hire a new coordinator for our diversion programs. They are currently working through the hiring process on that, and hopefully we will have that filled here soon. And then just a quick update on our other programs. We do have MRT still that is started in the community. We have 4 participants right now in that. And I updated last month, but I'll update again. We do have 1 participant who started with us in the jail and was taking the course. And then when he was released from custody, he actually joined our community program. And so that's really the goal, is to get people involved when they're in the jail and then when they're released from jail to continue the programming. So that's awesome that we've seen that. Our class inside the jail for men is completely full with a wait list. So we're working on that. And then we are working on getting a women's MRT class started, because we do have we do have numbers to provide a full class for the women as well. So that's something we're working on. Just a reminder, the MRT classes within the community are open to the public. It's a $35 fee for the book. And then we're working on getting a flyer and brochure set up that we can share with you guys when we have that ready, just on what MRT is and when it's offered. And then just another update from Don, the Department of Justice will be coming for a site visit on August 15th.
How do they, the DOJ, when they come, what do they just participate in a meeting?
So they attend our treatment court staffing, which takes place every Friday morning before court. So they'll attend our staffing, and then they attend court with us and observe, take notes. And then we do have a meeting set up with the district attorney's office afterwards, so they can go over all of our other diversion programs, so our substance diversion, IDIP, so that we can go over that with them too.
Well, that sounds like a busy day.
It will be.
Okay,
Any other questions?
any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
On the fees for CJCC, there's no increase to 136 on your last page.
I'm sorry.
On the fees for the CJCC, there's no
Nothing
increase.
changed on that. Okay. How about the Fair Society?
The grandstand,
Action to moving these fees forward as.
Yeah, let's do that now. I crossed out CJCC on 11 because we've already had the report. So we need a motion on the fee schedule. With the of all the highway, parks, trails, recycling, sheriff's office, excluding district attorney, and the clerk of court will be in August too.
No, clerk of court, she's on vacation.
Or she's on vacation, but there was nothing changed on that.
Correct.
NCJCC. So need approval on the recommendation for approval on all of them, with the exception of the district attorney's office, all that are listed.
Does that motion go to the board, full board, or just a motion to accept?
No, motion to accept, I'll go to general government then.
Right.
I can
Motion made and seconded to approve them as indicated. All in favor?
All right.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Now the Fair Society.
All right, the grandstand project was awarded to VNS. They are out of Rice Lake for $1,174,000. There were 4 bids received, and the high bid was $2,086,000. And we continue to do work as needed down there prior to the fair. And the new roof is the rabbit barn completed. That's my only update.
So that's pretty well in line with what we originally thought.
Yeah, it actually came in cheaper than
Yeah.
where we were trending, so it's nice. I think Mo has a breakdown of what the fair's portion would be. I don't know if you have it with you or not. But
There's 31% to that would be approximately 393,000. And then 50% of that is due upon commencement of the project, which would be 181,000.
Society is appraised of that.
Yes, they've been, I've not got the reply back on those
It
numbers.
was at their meeting. Okay. Any other questions, anybody? Okay. Public Works, you,
I'll keep going here.
all right.
The Clam Falls actuators and motors are in, however, they're not working. So with all the rain we've been having, I've been doing 2-a-days up there. We have a scheduled meeting with engineers, contractors, and motor manufacturers for next week. That's yet to be determined on what days that they'll be on site. But they were here 2 weeks ago and left knowing they weren't working. So currently, you got to bump the motor up and down 50 to 100 times to get it to move 4 inches. So they thought that there was debris on the outside of the gates, but I went up there and determined there wasn't. So now they're going to be coming back to see what they can do about that. So hopefully we can have some kind of action next week to determine when we're going to get the correct motor size or gearing to fix the issues. Recycling, we are waiting on landscaping and paving yet. The punch list items, they're still knocking those off a few at a time. And we currently have the area set up for 24/7 bins at St. Croix Falls. I think you guys have been through there, but we fenced off a portion and then gravelled it. So we now, I think as of yesterday, put the bins out. So we have 24/7 coverage down there. Atlas Dam came in $100,000 higher than we budgeted 4 years ago. The low bid was $234,000, and we received 5 bids for that. And CISA HVAC is wrapping up and should be completed in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
Just one question I thought on the recycling. If I heard it correctly that day, it's going to be on the side road on the north end. Up by the telephone, whatever.
Where the bins are?
Yeah.
It's actually on the west side. So as you came in the normal entrance, now the fence has just moved back and there's an area right there where the bins are. So you can go in, drop your stuff off and go right back out the same driveway.
I think that's what we talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and we don't yet, but we are working on getting cameras, some PTZ cameras, which is pan tilt zoom, so we can zoom in on that area to try to cut down on any illegal dumping. And that happens at all our sites. So.
Rod, can you explain how you're maintaining the level of the Clam Falls?
So the nice thing, is that now there's sensors in the water, so I can pull it up on my phone or the computer at my desk and I can see what the level is. Bad thing about that is I look at that phone 35 times a day on the weekends, and I end up running to Clam Falls to adjust it. But I can see where the level is. It tells me the level of the bottom of the actual bridge, the level that we're supposed to maintain, the level of the spillway, and I can maintain accordingly. So the optimal level is 1,023.5 feet above sea level. And so we're going to be try to maintain 1,023 to 1,023.5. If it goes higher than 1,024, it actually runs over the other two gates. So right now the spillway handles some, and then the gate is open anywhere from 4, 5, 6 inches depending on the rainfall. So then that's what I have to adjust is that gate so that I'm backing up everything.
Huh.
So.
Keep you busy.
Yeah, Tony was up there today trying to shoot that. We had a giant sump cluster get caught up on the spillway portion, so he fished that over to the rocks. So we'll have to actually cut it up. It was too big to go over the spillway. So
Weeds?
Hmm?
Weeds?
no, it's a giant stump.
Oh, a stump.
Yeah,
Oh.
and all the root ball on that.
Move that.
Stick with a hook on it, like a pole pruner, it has a hook on it. That's what I use to clear stuff off the dam at Kennedy. This thing is pretty big. It wouldn't,
Yeah,
it's too wide to go through the spillway, so I pulled it off to the side and I'll have to cut it up. Get it to go.
Several calls up there that, maintaining a level was lower than it historically was. But it's just an optical illusion as when it was drawn down, the weeds grew up really prominent around the edge of the flowage. So we are maintaining it where it needs to be. So
Yeah,
just want to get that out there.
Yeah, there's some people that get hung up because out kind of 100 yards off of shore, there's some weeds that are sticking out of the water a couple feet that normally aren't there in a normal year when the lake level is where it should be. But like most of it, it's just because it was drawn down, those weeds grew up so high and now the water's at the right level and we can't take it any higher because we'd be in it. But they were kind enough to let the DNR know that we weren't doing it right. So we had to explain ourselves to the DNR as well.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Highway?
Yes, highway, we're busy. We're right in the middle of construction season. We're currently down on paving on County Road Double M now with that overlay. County Road F between 65 and by Trollhagen there, that is complete. That's been striped and shouldered. Everything's done there. County Road E Part 1, that 2.35 miles is complete other than the line striping, which will get scheduled with our other projects to get striped. Like I said, County Road Double M is being paved today, hopefully finishing up intersections tomorrow. It's been a little bit of a slow process. They've been having a lot of plant issues, so it's been going slower than we'd like. County Road G1 and G2 have been prepped and are ready to be paved in August and October, out there towards the county line on the east side. County Highway B is behind schedule, approximately 2 weeks at this point. We had some holdups. We've just had a tremendous amount of rain on that project up there. And it hasn't been helping that we have less than ideal subgrade material in some areas on that road. So it's been a ton of emails and phone calls between the WSDOT experts and the engineers and stuff. And long story short, we're going to move ahead with paving the base course asphalt on it. Hopefully next week they'll start paving. So they got a little behind. But the STP requirements have to pave a test strip and then core and sample it for density and the mixture and then send that to the lab. It just got behind in that test strip, showed a little bit of an issue. But everything's just so saturated out there. It's we're working with the contractor. We've had several complaints about the roughness of the roadway. So we've got them coming out. They should be out there today, getting some of those potholes and stuff tuned up on that road before the holiday weekend. Still hoping that County Road B is wrapped up by the end of August. So, chip sealing, County Road N, County Road M2 and 3 out of Osceola there towards Nye. Those are still scheduled here for the weeks of July 28th through August 27th, along with scrub seal from on State Highway 35 from X down to the county line. County Road W Bridge is scheduled to be open by the 4th. I'm waiting for an update from our contractor up there to see if they'll actually have it open. Same issue with some of the backfilling and stuff in preparation for the paving. The rain's been just sort of holding everything up on that. And then we're currently working on getting through the last of our state roads for mowing and mowing on the county roads south of highway that need finished up. Spraying stuff we did north of highway has seemed to work really well this year.
Yeah, good.
Inhibiting the growth and cleaning up some of our invasives.
Hopefully use more of that.
We'll try. Yeah. That's all I have.
Do you have anything on the LRIP that you need,
Yep.
action on?
Well, I guess I don't know that I need action on it. I more just wanted to keep you guys in the loop and ask for your blessing. So a couple years ago, the LRIP pilot program was started, and I was up in Burnett at the time, and Mo would have worked through that with you guys, the previous LRIP biennium. And they want to renew that pilot for an additional 2 years, and there's been a lot of debate in the Northwest about staying with that or getting away from it. But the consensus here towards the end of the push for the new contract and stuff is to let it go another 2 years, get the information they need, and then make their decisions. They're just asking for a pilot extension. And the rest of the commissioners in the Northwest have agreed to continue with that program. And before I signed and sent off the contract to the WCHA, who is our intermediary between the Towns Association and the pilot administrators of the pilot. Can't think of what they're called right now. The consultants that deal with the coordinators. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's what we were looking at doing, was continuing that for another 2-year period. So the towns and the villages and municipalities will work through their LRIP coordinator, which is the highway commissioner, again, for this next biennium with the LRIP.
Okay. All right, there's nothing we have to do in reference to that. Okay, anything else? Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. Have one.
All right, thank you. I just want to start out and express my sincere condolences to the Milwaukee Police Department. For those of you that don't know, their officer Kendall Porter was shot and killed in the line of duty. And the watch was Sunday, so 2 days ago. It just shows the sacrifice and the danger in this job. I'll also mention, because I know Jeremy is part of a fire department, we just saw 2 firemen killed out in Idaho. So it's been a difficult week for the first responder side of this world. And Rod, thank you. I left the flags are at half staff. That was the governor's order to honor the fallen officer in Milwaukee. So if you noticed that when you came in, and Rod, I appreciate your staff keeping up with that. Last month we had our jail inspection, and again, the purpose of today's meeting with the lunch is to show you that that's the type of food we serve our inmates. Part of the statutes, a county board member is supposed to, or a representative of the board is supposed to tour and inspect the jail once a year. So that will be after the meeting. I need at least one of you, all of you if you choose, but to do a walkthrough of our jail. I want to compliment Captain Matt Blackman. He's our captain in the jail, and he runs a very tight ship back there along with Lieutenant Melissa Alexander. We just had our inspection. It went very well, as it always does. And it's a very, very detailed inspection. The state comes in and, you know, I know in the past it's been little things like we didn't have a food item labeled with a date. That's how nitpicky the inspection is. So I'm always, I'm not surprised that we passed. Great, because Matt and Melissa do a tremendous job back there. So thank you for all your hard work, Matt. Today's tour, we're going to showcase a little bit of our newer technology back there. We have the Guardian cell check system. We'll show you that. We also have tablets that we provide inmates now. So that's a really nice thing. And if you saw in the fee schedule there, the $50 per day for out of county lodgers is what we charge. And we're averaging around 10 to 20 lodgers per day back there. And that adds up. That's approximately, we estimate around 300,000 in revenue. And it isn't to make money. It's about helping your neighbor. We have several jails in our surrounding communities that they either have staffing issues or they don't meet adequate facilities. So we're happy to lodge for other counties to help them out. That's really the main reason we do this, is provide another sheriff an avenue to get their inmates. And this goes back to the people that were involved in building this building. There was a lot of criticism the county board took back then, but the fact that our facility still is adequate, 20 some years after it was built, is a hats off to how they looked forward when they built this place. Just to build a new jail today, is the cost is astronomical. It's the week of July 4th, and in law enforcement, we look at this week differently than most other people. It is kind of always the pinnacle of stupidity in the summertime, sometimes when we see what goes on. But in all honesty, you'd be surprised as much traffic that flows through here and as much people that will be up here recreating and having fun. It does go pretty smooth. So we always hope for a lack of activity, but we are prepared and geared up for a busy week. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you very much. We need a discussion or possible action on resolution 2025. Is pretty much self-explanatory. If you,
Mr. Chair, could I just speak to that quickly?
go right ahead, please.
So I was approached by our emergency manager, and this was kind of a trend going around. We're at the peak of the storm season right now. And obviously disasters can happen here. We saw that back in 2019. I will say that going back to my first interactions in Polk County, our emergency manager back then was now the late Dick Fabrini. And he still left an impression. I still have people tell us about Dick Fabrini and some of the stories. So these positions are very key to providing a plan for anything that could possibly happen, whether it's a natural disaster or a man-made disaster. So I reached out to John Boniprice on this, and he agreed with the resolution to make this proclamation. So if you pass this to the county board, I would try to have my emergency manager come to that board meeting. And I'll also see if I can invite a couple other emergency managers to come in, because their work really is behind the scenes. But when something big happens, it's awful nice to be able to just roll out the plans that they've worked very hard at. That's where we stand with
They
that.
do a very good job.
Yeah.
Okay, any discussion in reference to that
Send it to the county board.
with approval?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, opposed, same. Okay. Administrator,
Yes, Mr. Chair, I only have just one quick update being the first of June. I got the numbers for, July. I got the numbers for June for sales tax. June was down 6% from 2024 June, but we're still up 4% from 2024. That puts us, for the last 6 months, came in under last year. Not surprising, either 5 to 6 months that are lower. So just keeping an eye on it, budgeting, and going through the budget process.
that has quite an impact on our budget, I know.
Currently, then we're just going through the budgets with departments, extra funding requests, and all that put together. What gets approved, what doesn't get approved.
Okay, fine. Any questions? Okay, annual report. Oh, I'm sorry, go.
Yeah, quickly, we canceled the meeting today because of the jail tour.
Right, so nothing's changed.
Unless something comes up, I put in the email that they could schedule a meeting if needed.
Oh, okay.
Unless Robert Yes, come
Okay. Annual report review.
The highways and public works annual reports are in the ones they handed out to you for your review. If you have questions on them, you can come back next, we can discuss it next meeting. I'll put them on there.
All right. Our work plan is listed. I don't see any major changes involved in that. Anybody had anything they may want to add? To address? Only thing we've got is the fee schedule. All right. Hearing nothing, we'll. We'll move on without change. Anything for the next meeting? I want to bring up at this time. If you do, make sure we get it in the allotted time to contact the clerk or let me know what's going on. We can add it. Okay, need a motion for. Certain? Favor? Aye, we're adjourned. And who can make the jail tour?
Germany.
I hope so.
Germany.